Hello, today we're going to learn how to do this beautiful cable work. This cable is used in the Cozy Cabled Cardigan, and it is referred to as the 12 double crochet cable because it's worked across 12 stitches, and your beginning row is double crochet stitches. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using this beautiful yellow Brava worsted weight yarn from We Crochet Official. This yarn has 218 yards. It's a super soft, super squishy acrylic, and this is my go-to acrylic yarn. This is the color Caution. It is a medium worsted weight or number 4 weight yarn, and it is machine washable and tumble dry. Okay, let's get started. So I've begun with a foundation double crochet, and I've done 14 stitches here so that we'll have the cable and 1 double crochet on each end. And I've gone ahead and done an extra row just so I have a place to hold and you can still see the stitches. So this cable is worked in a 4-row repeat. So beginning with row 1, I'm going to break it down into 4 steps, because there are 4 different cables working across here. So you have this cable, and then this cable, this is cable 3, and this is cable 4 that comes around here. So for cable 1, we're going to begin by doing a front post double crochet across 3 stitches. So the first 3 stitches. To do a front post double crochet, you're going to want, get that tail out of there, to wrap your yarn around your hook 1 time, find that first post, and instead of going into the stitch, you want to work around that post. So enter the hook from the right to the left around the back side, yarn over and pull a loop through and up. So you now have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1. We need to do 2 more. So yarn over, find that next post. I use my finger to kind of push it up a little bit. Insert from the right to the left, yarn over and pull a loop through. You now have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, let's do that one more time. Okay, that's the first part of row 1 complete. Now the next step, we're going to skip these 3 stitches and we're going to work into the next 3 stitches. For these, you're going to also work around the post, but because we're going across and skipping these, we need our post stitches to be longer. So instead of a double, we're going to do a treble crochet. So to do that, we're going to wrap the yarn around 2 times, remembering to skip the first 3 stitches, insert behind the post of the 4th stitch, pull up a loop. You should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, we're going to do that 2 more times so we have a total of 3. So again, we're going to wrap around twice, insert behind that post, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do that one more time. There you have it. Now the next step is the trickiest step of the entire cable process. We're going to go back and we're going to work into these 3 stitches, but we don't want to come across the front. We want that cable to be tucked behind. So if I pull this one back forward, you can see that these stitches are these stitches, and the other ones are tucked behind those stitches. So if I were to pull these forward, you can see those stitches back behind there. So to get it like that, we're going to pull these stitches forward and hold them down with our thumb, and we're going to find those 3 stitches that we skipped. So there's 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do the same thing we did with these 3 that we pulled forward. We're going to do a front post treble crochet stitch. So we're going to wrap around twice. Again, this is the trickiest part. Make sure you hold these stitches in place so they don't slip off. You may have to pull your yarn over so that you can see. Insert that around that first skipped stitch, yarn over, and pull a loop up only through that stitch, and then you can loosen up your loops here and see that you have 4, and then you can complete that treble crochet. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That first one's the hardest. Once you get that one in, the yarn kind of wants to stay over where it belongs, so you can get the next 2. Yarn over twice, find that next, insert behind it, pull up a loop, make sure you have 4 loops, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then the last one, we're going to find that one in there, and it looks like I may have made a mistake, and this just goes to show that everybody has a problem, and I often make mistakes. So I'm going to undo those 2 that I just did. I'm not going to redo this video because it's important for you to know that everybody makes mistakes, and sometimes it just takes a lot of practice. So I'm going to pull those over, pull this down, and I'm going to look for that very first stitch. I can see that there's a stitch in that one, so it's this one, and I missed it the first time I went to the second one. So let's redo these 2 stitches. And if I look, there's one there and one there, so I know I'm in the right ones this time. And the last one. Now when you get done with the cross and you pull this back up, you may think it looks wrong, it looks kind of sloppy, it wants to flip forward, but when we do that next row, it'll pull it all back into place. So we've done 3 of the 4, so we've got the front post double, skip 3, 3 front post treble, come back behind, and 3 front post treble behind. Now we're going to do the last 3, which is 3 front post double again. So we're only going to wrap around once, we're going to insert behind that post, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do that again. And one more time. And I'm just going to finish off with a double crochet because I did 14 double crochet stitches across here. So I'm going to double crochet in that last stitch. So that's row 1 of the 4 rows of the large cable. Now let's go on to row 2. We're going to flip our work. And if you see this raised ridge here, that's normal because we worked into the post stitches, not the top stitches. If we would have worked into the top stitches, these would not be sticking out, but because we did the post stitches, this will be sticking out. This is normal. It does create a ridge, but as you continue to work, this will pull down and it'll straighten out a little bit and you won't even notice it. It's going to be a really nice warm cardigan. Okay, so let's go on with the next row. I'm going to chain 2 to start this row. Then we are skipping this very first stitch in all of the cable patterns because that chain 2 counts as a stitch. So we're skipping that stitch. Of course, for this it's just a demonstration. I have 14 stitches across and the cable takes 12. So we're going to begin working into these first 3 stitches, which are the front post double crochets, and we're going to back post double crochet into all 12 stitches all the way across. So to do that, we're going to wrap the yarn around one time. We're going to insert from behind. So for the front post, we inserted from the front. For the back post, we're inserting from behind, going all the way through so that your hook shows through your yarn like that, and the end of your hook is sticking out the back. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, and we're going to finish the double crochet stitch. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that all the way across 12 stitches. When you get to the twisted stitches, just make sure you stick your finger in between them there so that you get them in order. So you want to do these 3 first. You want to work all the way straight across. I need a little more yarn here. So when I get this first 3 done, I usually stick my thumb in between those so that I can find that first one. I'm going to move this yarn to the other side to make it just a little bit easier to work with. It's a brand new skein, and you know how brand new skeins, sometimes they just don't want to center pull. This one's being a little difficult. So let me get some excess yarn here. All right. So I have 2 more and then 3 more. And then I'm just going to double crochet into my chain for that last stitch and turn this over so that you can see what it looks like from the front. So those are our first 2 rows, and you can see that definite X there. See how it's straightened out where before it looked like it wanted to flop forward? Now it's nice and pulled straight, and you see the definite X. So that's 2 of the 4 rows. So we're going to move on to row 3, and we're going to start with the chain 2. Now for row 3, we're going to skip the first 3 stitches and we're going to front post treble into the next 3 stitches. So we're going to continue this working in this direction so that your cable continues moving over, and then we'll come back and work these 3. So we're going to wrap around 2 times. We're going to insert around the front of that first. And I usually have to change my hold on my crochet hook when I get to this point, just to keep those stitches going at a right angle. So we're pulling through 2, pulling through 2, pulling through 2. We're going to do 2 more of those. And 1 more. Okay. I'm going to set this down for a moment. I'm going to get some more yarn pulled out of the center of this skein so that I have enough to complete this row. Okay. So last time we worked into some skip stitches, we went behind. For row 3, we're only working in front. So wrap your yarn twice, come all the way over to this very first skipped stitch, cross the front and around behind that post. Let me show you that again. All the way around to that very first post and enter from right to left. And then we're going to do our trebles. So yarn over and pull up a loop. And if you look, I've got that yarn is splitting right there. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 loops. We're going to yarn over, we're going to pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. So as you can see, this is going to cross this direction over the front of these stitches. So we're going to do that into the next one. Yarn over twice, pull it around and around that front from right to left. Wrap your yarn around and pull up a loop. Now you don't want your cables to be too tight, so if you notice here, I pull up quite a long loop because you don't want the cables to scrunch down so much that you're pulling this way down like this. You want to make sure your cables are standing up tall. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, let's do that one more time. Okay. Now, as you can see, we've got an X going on here. So we have this X where that one's behind, and then this X where this one's in front. Now, we're going to repeat these 2 steps over these 2 sets. So we're going to skip the next 3, and we're going to work into the following 3. Wrap around twice, insert from right to left, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Let's do that 2 more times. Okay, now we need to go back and work into these 3 that are hidden behind, starting with this one way over here. So we're going to wrap around twice. We're going to take our hook all the way over to that very first stitch and put it behind that post, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we've got 2 more to go. 1, 2. Okay, and then I'm going to double crochet into this last stitch here, and then I will show you what row 3 looks like. Okay, that's what it'll look like after the end of row 3. Now, just like this one straightened out when we did the back stitches, this one will straighten out when we do the back stitches. So we're going to turn it over and we're going to do the same thing we did for row 2. We're going to back post double crochet all the way across. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to enter from behind, around that post, yarn over, and try not to drop your loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to do that 12 times total. Put your finger in there to get the stitches, swap it with your hook. Okay, that's 6. We have 6 more to go. When you get here, you can see there's a big gap where those connect. We're going to I missed a stitch. Okay, so I've done the first 3. Now I'm going to stick my finger in between there so that I can see the next 3. Yarn over, I insert my hook around, and then that's where I change my handhold to make it easier to get around those stitches. I'm usually a pencil holder on all my crochet work, but on cables I go back and forth because some of them is just easier on my wrist if I hold it the other way. So there's 6. Now you've got this hole here where the cross happens. So you can see this is going this way and this is going this way. But when we work these double crochet stitches, it helps close that up. So again, I'm going to stick my finger in between these so I can get that front one, and you can see, turn this around this way. There's 3, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it's just easier if you stick your finger in there and find it, and then you can replace it with your hook. So I'm going to do that again. I stick my finger or my thumb into that hole to kind of separate them and find those stitches, and then I just insert my hook where my thumb is, and it helps me to find that stitch a lot easier. You'll kind of get into a rhythm with that where it's easier to find them. But when I first start out, I always use my fingers and my thumbs to separate the stitches just so I don't skip a stitch like I did earlier on in the row. Okay, I have 3 more to go. When you're on the back side, you always back post double crochet across. The only part that's different on this pattern is the front stitches. I'm going to put my last double crochet into the end of this work, and I'm going to turn it and show you. So this is the end of 4 rows. So you can see there, as you continue, that cable is going to move along. So this one here crosses over, and it goes up here and then crosses back, and it will just continue to S-shape up. This one here crosses over and continues this way. This one in the middle will cross back and forth, making an S, and then this one crosses this way. So the outer 2 are going to cross a big wide crisscross, and then the inner 2 will just make smaller crisscrosses. But that's it. 4 rows of repeat. So now you'll go back to this first row, where the next section you will do 3 front post double crochets. You'll crisscross the 2 center ones, and 3 double crochet, front post double crochet at the end. And that's it for this tutorial.